Hello, everybody. This is another edition with Win with Glenn, where we win together, not because you are with me, but we win together. Look at topics we consider best practices. And I had someone with me last time in the context of technology, and I have invited him back. And Larry, welcome back to Win with Glenn.
Glenn, it's a pleasure again to be on with you, my friend.
As you know, Larry, I lean on you quite a bit because of your background in technology. And the last time we spoke about cyberspace, at least to the audience, and there's other topics that we talked about. But there's one in particular that is just so prolific in today's day and time that I thought that you would help me and us win together in understanding and navigate through. And that is the wonderful acronym of AI. Everything's just AI, 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 and it's artificial. And I laugh at it, but respectfully, and I get it. But artificial intelligence, and there was recently, I believe, I saw in some news article where the big names, the Googles, the I think Amazon, like. I mean, the numbers are astronomical, where they have
Yeah.
allocated like $600 billion. We're going to say, I mean, you scratching your head. We're going to allocate $600 billion on AI this year, or
Yep.
whatever the number
Yeah.
is. And so I may be exaggerating a little, but not far. But they're astronomical numbers. And so, um, as I try to do, is take the complex and make it simple. And
Yeah.
let's start first with what is AI? We know is artificial intelligence. And everybody say AI, AI, AI. And then also, how long has it been around? Because I think people will be surprised while everything's now AI, AI, AI. AI has been around, and I'd like to give an example or two of it having been around. So, what is AI in its simplistic? Is AI a he? Is it a she? Is it a it? Well, we do refer to AI almost as so. What is AI in the technical for to give it to us as technical and in lay terms?
Yeah, definitely. Well, Glenn, I first want to say, how much time do you have? This topic of
We got
AI,
we
artificial intelligence. Oh my gosh.
Well,
I think we can
we're
just
gonna
scratch
take
the
a gallon.
surface.
We're gonna do what we always do. Let's take a gallon and put it in a pint. So
Yeah.
let's go.
That's what we're going to do. So at a very, very high level, artificial intelligence is how is when computer systems, they're designed to do tasks that human intelligence would normally do. Like, for example, looking at a picture or, someone say, hey, draw me a picture of a smiley face. That's just a simple example, but that's an example. So now you can use artificial intelligence and one of these many tools that are out there and say, type in a prompt, which is, type in a sentence and say, hey, draw me a picture of a smiley face. And now a computer can do that for you. And so, but it goes deeper than that. So artificial intelligence is really, machines being able to learn, like machine learning, where a computer can or a system can scan your, say if you purchase a airline ticket and you scan that airline ticket, you scan your boarding pass to get into the plane. That's artificial intelligence. And that's been around how long, Glenn? That's been around for as long as I've been flying on planes, scanning
So
that
you
boarding
saying
pass.
artificial intelligence is not anything new?
No, it's not. It's
Okay.
not new. Now it's exploding in recent, last few years. It's been exploding, but it's been around for a long time. It's exploding in the impact of, you have generative AI. When I say generative AI, that means, like your, without naming the big ones, we know how the big players are out there, where you can type into a system and it responds back to you. You type into an AI app or chat, a chat app or what we call a chat bot, and it responds back to you,
So that's
or
AI in a simplistic term. Something
that is in simplistic
when
terms. Yep.
and you said something. You use the word learning. So machines are learning. So let me
Man.
push. Let me well.
Yes.
So I don't know what that means because I would say when learning to me is maybe akin to reasoning, and I may be wrong for that. So I'm learning something. So is it learning? or is it memory? So talk to us because this thing gets, since you said it's exploding, most of the time I hear people talk about, well, it's a divided room. You have people who are afraid of AI and they say, that thing's dangerous.
Yeah.
You don't, I don't. And then you have people who say, well, that's the way the world turns and this is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. So,
Yeah.
and I want to get to that a little bit with regard to the afraid, the fear, and et cetera. But what do you mean when you say learning?
Yeah, so it's essentially that. So it is learning because what it does is it looks at patterns, it looks at past information, it looks at what you currently entering and what your request is. For example, you could say, give me a picture of a red balloon. Put that into your whatever tool you use for artificial intelligence. And what it will do, it'll provide you that picture of a red balloon, but would also learn and say, hey, okay, this person or this whoever asked me for a red balloon. So I'm going to store that in memory or I'm going to store that in history. So if I see that same request again, I can provide a picture of a red balloon even faster. So what it does, it looks at patterns and it looks at historical information. Yep.
So the patterns and things that you talked about is the learning, and I think that was kind of cool. And now we talked
Yeah.
about this when you were talking to me about cybersecurity, et cetera.
Yeah. Yeah.
In one case, I feel great. I'm on my phone and I went out to
Yeah.
look for something.
Yeah.
And then the next time I go to my phone and I guess remembered I was looking for it, or it AI now is saying, well, you went and looked at a light bulb. And so now the next time I go out, it anticipates that maybe I'm still looking for the light bulb. And so somewhat automatically get bought there, but then I'm shown a whole bunch of other, I guess,
Yeah.
related topics, et cetera. Is that
One.
so? That would be what we would say the positive side of AI. Is AI when people fear AI, the fear is that, and we hear this all the time, AI is going to supplant humans and put us out of work. We have the self-driving cars that I saw in California. That's AI, right?
That is artificial intelligence.
So are we saying, and when you say learning, are we suggesting, and this is the fear that people have, that we're saying that AI actually, like some of these sci-fi movies of the past,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Space Odyssey, and some of the others where machines have now taken over, and what was that with Arnold Schwarzenegger with Cyberdyne?
Yeah. Yes.
The Terminator. So are we saying that AI, when you say learning, and I'm trying to get my head, I want everybody to understand it, the positive, the negatives, et cetera, because then we can
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
the use. But when you say learning, is it some people are saying better than humans? What would you say there?
Well, I will say this is never will be better than a human. I will say that because humans, there's so much more to humans than just the data or information that we request. So that's first thing. One, I will say this though, that with artificial intelligence, with machine learning, with generative AI, these machines have or are being designed to think equivalently or reason. You mentioned reason.
When I
Yeah,
hear this, you use those words, I get scared. I
it's
was like, wait a
scary.
minute,
It is
wait a minute.
is terrifying. It
But
is
but do
terrifying.
you but do you really mean think as I'm thinking and reason as I'm you can't mean that. You can't mean
Well,
that a machine is going to think the way that, well, maybe you do. So I just want everybody to hear what you know that we don't know.
yeah, so what they do is will imitate or be able to mimic how a human brain would rationalize without the emotion, minus the emotion. And that's what makes us unique from artificial intelligence. We have emotion. We have things that, you know, everything is not just black and white all the time. With artificial intelligence, it's data, it's black and white. Is okay, is this the answer or this the answer based on patterns, based on this, based on that. Now, granted, AI is evolving at such a rate that yes, there are scenarios where it does make you think that, man, this system is thinking like a human. And their natural language processing, that is what it is being designed. It's just being designed to mimic human intelligence. I don't think it'll never be equal to human intelligence because humans are we're such complex creatures, but they're making efforts to get it pretty close.
Well,
You know what I
I
mean?
think the thought process is, and I heard someone was they were educating me, and they were just talking about how now with AI, they were working on a project, and that the project evolved and happened a lot quicker than they could ever do
Yes.
it, because a
Yes.
computer was considering things that perhaps I would have never considered. It was doing
Yes.
correlations and
Yep.
algorithms and all this other stuff. So you get it in that regard with respect to AI. And before I push the envelope a little further about the danger, but
Yeah.
the what we might perceive to be the danger. But you did say something a couple of seconds ago, and you said was it could never supplant the human. Whether there's a agenda or conspiracy, or some person in the back saying eventually we're going to have machines, there is, and oftentimes discussions about how technology, what we want to do is make it to where the point where, like the self-driving cars, that you get behind a vehicle and you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And the car is going to drive itself. You have no decisions to make. And then later on, I don't want to get ahead of myself about what that's doing to us, because
Yeah.
so right now, in theory, AI, the thought process is artificial intelligence is
Mhm.
intended to make life better,
Yes.
right?
That is
So
that is the goal. That is the goal for it to make life better. And I wanna make a distinction. You said something a couple of seconds ago. When you said replacing humans, it won't replace humans, but what it will do or potentially can do is replace some of those things that humans do.
eliminate
Um,
jobs.
exactly. So
We're gonna
certain
eliminate, yeah.
roles, certain tasks, because AI or artificial intelligence, machine learning, what have you, will just, to your point, you just mentioned it, will be able to do it much faster and more, and be honest with you, cheaper. And so that is the fear. That's what's the fear that is spreading across because one, we don't know what that's going to look like. We don't know on the other side what that has looked like. And so, and not to derail our conversation, but that is, believe it or not, in our previous conversation, we talked about cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is very important when it comes to dealing with artificial intelligence because you're talking about how is it being used. And I know we're going to talk about the good, the bad, things of that nature, but it's talking about how is it being used, things of that nature. So it all ties hand in hand, believe it.
Well, so you said, and I wanted the audience to hear what I heard. You said faster, cheaper. I didn't hear the word better. Now,
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
people that have said
Yeah.
better. And that then takes me to the fear. And so I would give an example. I was with some men the other day, and these actually happen to be pastors. So and
Mhm.
so and they said, you know what? I can now put together a sermon, and I just have AI do it. And I said, "Well,
Yeah.
whatever happened?" I said, "Whatever happened to wrestling with, the?" Or I was talking to a lady, and she said that she was needed a resume done, and she just told AI to do the resume. And we know during COVID,
Yeah.
the strike that was in California with SAG, I think the Screen Actors Guild,
Yeah. Straight out the guild. Yeah.
using AI to write scripts. And they said, wait a minute, we could get these, we don't need writers anymore. We could just give some concepts. And here's one thing that you said, and I'd like to relate it to that, but
Yeah.
behind AI, I know there was a dark side. There was an article also written not
Mhm.
long ago, and it said that there were some algorithms or some, what's the word I'm looking at? There was algorithms or what is it? The word I'm looking for, when there was profiling. That's what I was looking
Profiling.
for. That
Yes.
was
Yes.
built into
Yes.
AI.
Yes.
You said, you said, yeah. So now I understand it once again, fear, the dark side, all this other stuff. But behind AI is this thing called men, right? I mean, that's
100%.
their programming. So when we say AI can do and is going to do all this stuff, how is that? And then learning and all this other stuff that you just said, faster, better, etc. when there's actually people who are actually their DNA may very that's what they said on the profiling. They said you actually put in some profiling algorithms into the AI. So what would you have to say to us on that regard? Especially when you have so many people, and there are a lot of people who just saying, I'm afraid of AI. I
Yeah.
don't, fear is danger. I mean, some people just have simply said, no, not me, and there's a plus side because I'm saying
Yeah.
you probably wouldn't even be able to enjoy what you're enjoying today were it not for artificial intelligence because it's in your automobiles, it's on your phones,
Yeah.
it's
It's
places
everywhere.
no idea what it was. But what about talk to us about what I just mentioned about the profiling aspect and
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, and that's the dark side that you mentioned of artificial intelligence is that we have to make this. People who use it in that way, they are using artificial intelligence as a weapon versus us who are trying to use it to help to do things faster. We're using it as a tool. And as a distinction, you're using it as a weapon because you're trying to hurt some group. You're trying to take from someone, you're trying to hurt some organization. That's the dark side. And it is a dark side of artificial intelligence if it is used in that way.
So
So,
you're telling me that you're saying I'm going to jump in because I want to get crystal
yeah,
clarity on this. I was just talking to a teacher the other
yeah.
day, and she's actually teaching that AI is inherently bad, and you're saying AI, and she has her reasonings, but you're saying AI is not inherently bad, and you should
I'm not gonna
inherently
say
be
it's
afraid of it.
I'm not gonna say it's inherently bad. I'm not gonna say that. What I will say, and you touched on this earlier, who is using it and how are they using it? So that's where the bad behavior, that's where the bad practice is. That's where the hurting others comes into play. And so I'm giving you an example. For example, we feed data into artificial intelligence systems. For example, if you put into a algorithm that you mentioned that is used by artificial intelligence. If you say, "Hey, this particular zip code is always prone to low home values," or "This particular zip code is always prone to violence," or "This particular zip code is always prone to, having a high income," or whatever the case is. If you put all of that data into an algorithm, feed it into an artificial intelligence system, then guess what? You've created bias in that system because now you've already programmed and told that artificial intelligence system that if you get a application or you get a home loan application and this zip code is on that application, then chances are, if you just relying totally on the artificial intelligence, is going to deny that application simply because of the bias of the data that is reading.
Or
And
how
so
it
that
was, or how it was, and you saying, or and I'm asking how it was programmed.
how it's programmed. And so that's where the the guardrails have to come into place.
So
One,
here's a question, and we'll see this is with your pay grade. So why wouldn't then, if AI learns and it can reason, why wouldn't AI then say, well, that's biased, and now I've just learned and I'm going to make the adjustment?
that's a very good question. But again, it goes back to what I was saying, it's designed to mimic, it's mimic human intelligence. But it's still at its core based on data. So it is, for it to reason and say, hey, this is not right, or there's bias in this data, you have to program it that way. You have to, exactly.
So
You
it's
have to
not
program it that way.
uh, AI is so I'll do a couple of series of questions for you.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
hoping this resonates with the audience. Once again, it
yeah.
resonates with me. Is AI self-correcting, true or false?
Is it self-correcting? Over time, it learns. I'm not gonna say it's self-correcting because AI at times can hallucinate. So I would say it would
Wow, what does that
it would
mean?
hallucinate. So it will make up data. That's what hallucinate is. So it can, because what it's trying to do is trying to provide you a response. And so it's trying to answer your question, but sometimes if depending on how you ask the question, artificial intelligence will make up an answer. And so one of the things is, and it goes back to what we said earlier, the input, the human side. We as humans who are using this artificial intelligence have to be very specific, very clear in what we asking it to do. There can't be no fuzzy, there can't be no gray area, because what you're doing, you're opening yourself up to getting incorrect information. You're opening yourself up for the artificial intelligence to kind of make a judgment strictly based on the data that it has to read from. So when you're using it, you have to be very specific in what you're asking for.
So
Yeah.
would you, in the best practice context, if I ask AI to write a paper, what should I do if I ask AI to maybe I'm doing a dissertation and
Yeah.
I'm sure people using it in that
Yeah.
context.
Yeah. one hundred
And
percent.
especially when you and then if you get into the context of, fact, how would you coach me to use AI in the context where let's say it's, either life or death matters,
Mhm.
or where there has to be factual basis versus theory.
Yeah, so from that perspective, say we're gonna start with the writing a paper. And if you put in a prompt, essentially a prompt is, and we all know what prompts is, but just in case, a prompt is when you actually typing in what you want it to do. Say a prompt would be, hey, I want you to write a paper. That's a prompt. But to take it to another level and really get the power and the benefit of using artificial intelligence, to your point, Glenn, you would say, hey, I want to write a paper on this particular topic. The timeline of this paper should be in this year to this year. I am interested in the author of this book as being a reference. I am interested in his writings on this particular topic, and I want the paper to have a maximum of 3,000 words. Something like that. So you see how very specific that was.
So
That's
should
how
I
we. Yeah.
so with that, should I trust the output? Here's what I'm asking. When I get that output, should I just put it in an envelope and give it to whoever need to read it?
100% no. Do not do not trust blindly what artificial intelligence output.
Okay.
And
That's
the
what I
reason
was
I
getting
say
to. Okay.
yes, the reason I say that is because yes, it's a wonderful tool. It is excellent. And those people who are fearful of it, I would say to those people, and I'll get to your question, I would say to those people that are fearful of it, just start slow. Just do small things with it, and keep your information safe, because it's here to stay. I don't see it as this .com bubble burst or anything like that. It's here. It's here. But anyway, to your point, the reason I say don't trust it wholeheartedly is because it makes mistakes. Even with the most specific way you can ask a question, you still want to double check with the output. And so, because one, sometimes how it when you ask artificial intelligence and it produces an output, sometimes it doesn't format it right. It might not be look exactly how you want it to look. A good example, a lot of times when you use that AI, put dashes between the words, things that's just something small, but you don't necessarily want to see that in your paper. So I wouldn't trust it 100% blindly. No, never do that. You should always go behind it and check it.
Do I need to fact check AI?
Yes, don't. I would fact check it. I would fact check it. Simple stuff. I would fact check, especially for major things, major questions, major things. Unless you just know that that's the answer. Say that's your field of expertise, and you just know. Say, yeah, this is what you can say. You can say, hey, yeah, well, you know what? That's the same answer I would have came to. Yeah, that's fine. Something like that. But if you don't know and you're asking it, always got to double check it. Always double check the response it gives you. Yeah.
So I'm getting to my time here, but
Yeah.
so in terms of use as a tool, and I do want to broad brush this, but I just want to do it for emphasis purposes, not
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah,
Would you recommend to virtually anybody you need to get into the game of taking advantage of AI? Would you be making that recommendation?
I
Okay.
would, because I would, and I'm gonna keep it very brief. A good example, my wife, who she was leery of using AI, artificial intelligence tools like the many, tools that are out there. And so I told her, I said, one, we had a conversation. I said, sweetheart, let's use this tool. Let's use this tool. Let's use it to maybe clean up let's start slow. Let's use it to clean up emails that you send to someone. Let's just start slow. And so we did that. We started slow. She liked the results because it did a great job at cleaning up her emails, removing the grammatical errors, capitalizing, whatever the case was. Did an excellent job. And so from that, she was hooked. And so now fast forward that to about a year and a half later, Glenn, she's almost as on the level I am. She uses artificial intelligence, some kind of tool to do so much stuff. She has it write business plans for her. She has it write summary of reports, and she'll put an image in there and say, "Hey, based on this image or this attachment, summarize what it's trying to tell me," and it does it. And so she has become someone who was fearful and very hesitant to someone who uses on a regular basis. And
That's
so that's
funny to
why I
see.
said earlier, yeah, and that's why I
Yeah.
said earlier to people, take it slow. Don't, we should never be fearful of anything. We should always be aware, but take it slow and be careful. And that's what I would say to that. Yeah.
Well, you said you got my attention when you said wrote a business plan because that's kind of the business I'm in is helping people write business plans. So maybe I would be out of a job here soon.
No, but
Here's
but you always had to check it.
I have one party question that I like to
Yeah, yeah,
see. We'll see if you can answer this, or we'll use it to launch. And maybe I have you come back another time on it. I was talking
yeah.
to someone the other day, and they were talking about once again AI
Mhm.
and I've seen this with iPads and icons and I've gone to the store and a person this is people don't realize this is and correct me if I'm wrong on this. This is an AI application. When you go to the store and you buy something from the grocery store and it just calculates how much change you're supposed to get. AI is doing that. Is that correct?
100%. Some sort of artificial intelligence is doing that.
Right,
Yes.
and so here's the punchline. So I went to the store and I was getting ready to buy something and it wasn't able to function and the person couldn't do the math
Man.
because they didn't know because the machines was doing everything.
Yeah.
So the thought was and the comment was, I mean, it was simple too. I said, well, it's 50% off. They didn't know what
Yeah.
50% of the dollar was.
My
And I'm
goodness.
saying this is and so the other thought process of people are saying is that AI is dumbing down the population to where you're not able to think. And somebody just 2 days ago said, individuals when they get into a jam, they just ask Google, and so they no longer are using their creative genius and
Yeah.
they're some of the things that they should to figure out how to get through things because they just now you just go to AI and say, okay, what do I do in this? What would you do? You want to try give a comment on that? It is,
Yeah,
or
most definitely.
do you want maybe we should come back and talk about how that and what we need to do? Maybe let me let's just leave that there, and I'll use that for our next time because I do want to talk about how we can excel with those
Yeah.
realities
Yeah.
because and I'll leave you with this, Larry, and thank you. And then my audience too. I can't write anymore. I used to write. I can't write anymore because all I do is type. And now a lot of people can't type because all they do is use their thumbs.
All they do is
So
thumbs. Yeah.
something's wrong with that. And so everybody needs to Glenn and just a win
Well,
with Glenn where we're talking
well,
about rock solid principle. Larry, I hate to leave us on that
yeah.
note. That's a good
It's a
note that we leave
it's a
on.
it's a teaser for the next one.
It's a reality though. And so
Yeah.
join us. I guarantee you everybody I'm gonna have Larry come back and we're gonna talk about AI and excelling in that context and the good, bad, the ugly.
Good, bad, and ugly.
and how you can win. And so I'll see you next time. Larry, you're a treasure. You're a treasure to me. You're a treasure to the community, and keep doing what you're doing. And I will be sure to have you back next time.
Most definitely sounds good. I look forward to it.